Today we are taking an exclusive look at something extremely exciting. This is the four-door, four-seater, 1,000 horsepower Bugatti that was never made. This is the 2009 Bugatti Galibier, and today we're going to give you a close look round all of the secret little features that made this car so special. First thing to notice is the number plate is encased in perspex, very reminiscent of old French cars, looks really nice. It's got 8 exhaust tips, which sound like this. And if you're wondering where on earth Bugatti would get a car to build this kind of concept on, the benefit of being in the Volkswagen group is they have Bentley, and this is actually based on a Bentley Arnage chassis, but of course everything completely bespoke with that aluminium and carbon fibre body. The interior is absolutely exquisite, and I have to say timeless. They've gone for a very minimalistic look, just 2 dials, one for speed and one for horsepower, and this reads all the way up to 1,000 horsepower, because yes, that W16 Cascade supercharged engine could produce in theory between 800 and 1,000 horsepower in a 4-door saloon. I really can't think of another thing like it. It features a $100,000 watch, a Parmigiani Fleurier tourbillon watch, which sits in here. This whole piece rotates and the watch can be removed and worn on your wrist. Super luxurious and quite literally timeless. Liquid crystal display, obviously this is a concept, but at the time this would have been revolutionary. Above me, following that central spine, is this lovely piece of polished wood and aluminium, and if I flick this switch, it illuminates. A lot of familiarities in here from the Veyron. I guess this really was aimed at Veyron owners to be their daily car, if you will. The steering wheel and the pedals are all very similar, and this tan leather throughout is gorgeous. And then in the center, we've got this amazing polished wood with polished metal. Parking brake release, infotainment controls, and then the gear selector, and of course the button, very discreet, very understated button to start that W16 engine. The infotainment from 2009 all looks really up to date and modern, and in the back it is just as cool. We'll show you that in a moment. Even a Tory Bugatti in metal embossed into the dashboard, a really nice touch. Under the bonnet, which opens like this, is a W16 engine developed of course from the Veyron W16 engine, but gone are the turbos, no quad turbo. Instead, this is dual cascade supercharged. What that means is 2 superchargers that work in sequence. Basically, one feeds the other, delivering monster power and monster torque low down in the rev range, perfect for a Grand Tourer. What that meant was 0 to 60 in something like 2.7 seconds. So when you think about the Veyron's 2.5 seconds, to be 2.7 seconds in a 4-door car, that's pretty impressive, and a top speed of 217 plus miles an hour. And it was a forward-thinking engine with flex fuel capability, which meant it could run on both normal petrol and bioethanol. Engines coupled to an 8-speed automatic gearbox and all-wheel drive system, all very similar things to the Veyron. But just look at this thing, it is absolutely immense. The size of that horseshoe grille, the design of these headlights, I think the design is amazing. It's so intricate. You've got the EB, the Tory Bugatti in the headlights, that open grille. I think they're 22-inch wheels with Galibier branded tyres and their own concept tyre tread. Again, such a shame that they never got made. And a neat little trick, if I understand correctly, is, just like a Rolls-Royce, self-leveling centre caps. The name Galibier, and I do apologise if I'm pronouncing the French wrong, is named after Col de Galibier, which is an alpine pass in France. Car's all closed up now, and you can really take in those lines and appreciate how stunning this thing is. Even the details, the way they've crafted the windscreen to sort of V in around that central spine and mirror the bonnet there. Really a work of art. These cars were supposed to be around about 1 million euros new. So you can imagine 1 million euros in 2009. This was an expensive 4-door saloon. So who knows how popular it actually would have been had it gone into production. Again, a real shame they didn't make it, but all of the details on this concept car, absolutely stunning. Even the intricacy of the tail lights, the way these 2 flaps would come up, active aero, and just the shape of this rear trunk. It's like a bull's nose almost. So happy to have finally got to see this car in person. Even in the back, the luxury continues. Woven leather door cards, leather straps for the door handles, and still that polished wood. Then in the center, we have a button, and if I press the button, appears this infotainment screen and rotates. How good is that? And that still works 17 years later. That is super cool. I would really love to go on a long road trip in the Galibier if they ever made it. It would be a brilliant car for driving around Europe. It's got these lovely polished aluminium wing mirrors, which are heavily inspired by the Veyron, but elongated. Of course, it's a longer car. The attention to detail on this concept, absolutely unbelievable. Woven leather boot liner, and then even woven leather speaker covers, and then Galibier stitched in the back of the headrest, something that hardly anyone would ever look at. This is the kind of stuff that I absolutely love about concept cars. They're behind the scenes, secret little things that you never get to see and probably wouldn't make it onto the production car. Sadly, there never was a production car of this car, of course. It's got two enormous batteries in the boot with all of this wiring, kind of umbilical cords, to power all of the technology that I showed you earlier inside the cabin. And it's even got, this dates the car, an iPod Nano, I think, plugged in the boot to power that infotainment system with a whole 2 gigabytes of storage if you are interested. And yes, it still works. And while we're here at the secret depot at the Autostadt with this amazing collection of Bugattis, something quite similar to the Galibier, but a little bit different. This is another 4-door Bugatti concept that never got made, and there's only one. This is the 218 18-cylinder naturally aspirated W18 engine. This was to take on things like Bentleys and Rolls-Royces of the day. And if you take a look at the interior, this thing is so luxurious. There's even more wood and leather, dare I say it, than inside the Galibier. What a cool thing. I thought I really had to show you it alongside the Galibier to show you sort of the next generation. And sadly, since Bugatti still have not made a 4-door car in the modern era, but you never know, they might do it one day. Initially, this car was unveiled in 2009 at Molsheim at Bugatti's atelier in France, and then at the Frankfurt Auto Show. And when it was first shown, it was finished in exposed blue carbon fiber, very subtle, and polished aluminium all the way down the sides, a little bit like you would see on a Veyron, and it looked amazing. I actually don't know why, but they chose to respec it in all black, which is discreet, but again looks stunning. Unfortunately, this car never came into production. This is the only existing example that's publicly been seen, at least, of the Galibier. There was a lot of back and forth for a few years, consultation with customers about were they going to make this car, but in the end, I think Piech, the then chairman of the Volkswagen Group, stepped in and said to have a car like this, producing several thousand units, which was the plan, would dilute the exclusivity of the hypercar brand at the time that was Bugatti, and they've continued that still. It's only been the Veyron, the Chiron, and then of course very recently the Tourbillon. So they are very much a hypercar brand, and sadly not a 4-door family saloon brand. And I remember when this car came out in 2009, reading about it and being so excited to see it because I adored the Veyron, and to see what was basically a 4-door Veyron was epic. So I was really disappointed when they decided not to make it. However, absolutely delighted when I got the opportunity to come down to the Autostadt at Volkswagen in Wolfsburg to get a close look around this thing. And believe me, it is even better than I ever could have imagined. So big thank you to Autostadt and Volkswagen for letting us take a closer look at this car. And you never know, they might decide one day to put it publicly on display at the Autostadt. So if they do, make sure you buy a ticket and go and take a look.